That's a nice little song, isn't it? Very catchy. That's from a lady called Eliza Doolittle. That's from an album called Pack Up. That's a single called Rollerblades. It'll be out on the 15th of October. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The number to ring if you want to contact this programme is 08459 555 678. Email address gerry.anderson@bbc.co.uk. Text messaging service 81771. What's wrong with the sound today? I sound as if I'm on top of my head.
No,
it sounds weird. It sounds very nasal.
So far, it's all right. Yeah.
I sound as if I'm talking through my nose. What is Ken doing? I mean, is there nothing that he will not do to persecute us? Anyway, how are you today? Okay.
Yeah, fine. I feel good. I feel good.
You feel good.
I feel good. I feel.
All right. I feel good.
Funny enough, I was just sort of examining my weekend last night.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think I had a good weekend. I anticipated you asking me this, you see, and I thought if he said to me what sort of weekend I have. But you asked me how do I feel, so it's a different question.
Okay, let me ask you the question that you were anticipating. What kind of a weekend did you have?
I feel somewhat cheated. I don't think I had a good weekend.
I must say, I went to a concert. Now, I recommended that people go to a concert on Saturday night.
Yes.
And I apologise.
I know all about that because
apologise.
A man came at me like two men and a wee boy. Complaining about a concert that you recommended.
We'll say no more. Just
yes.
I apologise.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
What kind of a weekend did you have?
I say, I feel as though someone.
Go on, get it out.
Well,
come on. You know, you can trust me.
I didn't play in any competitions at the golf.
I know.
You know,
it's an aimless weekend.
There was nothing.
No challenge.
No, there's no challenge.
No challenge. Just playing with yourself.
Yeah. No, I wasn't playing with myself.
Well, I hope not. No. So you no four ball.
No, one of the guys let us down yesterday. There was teams of four and only three of us there.
These people don't understand what it's like. A man lives for the weekend, for the thrust of the fray, the competition. I know. Yeah. And you were left hanging.
Only three of us. Yeah.
I went to a couple of movies over the past few days, and I'm going to give a little movie review here, if you don't mind. I went to see two movies. I went to see Believe Me, and I know I shouldn't have done it, but I went to see it because I wanted to see what it was all about. Do you know the way you never go to see anything because you don't care about anything? Yeah. Sometimes I hear people talking about stuff, and I say, I must go and see that. I probably wouldn't enjoy it, but I'll go and see it anyway so I know what people are talking about. I went to see Eat, Pray, Love by Julia Roberts. And my advice to you is do not go near that. If I, once more, see Julia Roberts smiling broadly in a big close-up on the screen, I will throw something at it. I went to another movie called The Town. It's brilliant. Ben Affleck. Go and see that. It's a great, great movie.
It's called The Town.
It's... I don't know. I don't think it's a true story, no. It's about a true phenomenon. There's an area in Boston called Charlestown, and it breeds hijackers and people who steal things.
Right.
There are certain areas in Northern Ireland like that, but we won't mention them. But it does that, and it's about this particular area, Boston. They're all talking like that. It's a great movie. Ben Affleck is from Massachusetts himself.
What? Just put young fellas going out hijacking cars?
Not young fellas.
What?
Young fellas?
What?
Y-U-N... That's another word. Y-U-N-F-L-A-S. Young flass.
Yeah. Right?
Nigel Porter
Is that what it's about?
No, it's about grown-up men hijacking banks. But it's not the usual smash and grab thing. It's really, really good.
Well, tell us about it.
Tell me
again.
We're being told to move on.
Oh, tell me about the film. I want to know.
Why are we being told to move on?
Never mind. Why? What about it?
I've been told to move on. I've been told to move on because in our radiophonic programme, Martin Bradley, our film critic, talked about the movie this morning. But then again, there's a different audience here.
Oh, exactly. I never heard that, you see.
He made me stop. He said, move on. He said, stop talking about that.
I
wise up.
So it's no good then?
It's brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Here's a man who writes to me without punctuation. He says, hi, Gerry, hope you're feeling well. He talks about his weekend too. Hope you're keeping well and had a good weekend. Just a wee note on the weekend's TV viewing. Well, it was very good. I had my wine on Saturday night and a Chinese takeaway, beef curry, fried rice. The rest of my family had various things to eat. We all sat down and watched the X Factor, which was not too bad. As I watched, I was thinking, our Gerry Anderson could do a lot better at the judging of these fine singers. Anyway, next on the viewing list was Simply Red. Presenting the show was Christine Blakely. What a good-looking woman she is. Well, the show was great. Mick Hucknall is was a fine singer and put on a fine performance. After all, that the late night movie was knocked up. Well, Julian Simmons announced that our late night movie comedy is knocked up. It was the highlight of the night. I fell off a chair laughing. This movie contains scenes of how's your father, is your mother still working in strong language from the outset, which some viewers might find offensive. You can tell Julian was uncomfortable talking about this with the whole thing and what a movie it was. Very, very funny. Thank you, Gerry. And here's a man who's concerned about my appearance, and I know you would share this. A gentleman writes to me called Brian Fitzpatrick, and he said, I got away for a few days, and when I came back to settle down to watch a bit of television around 10:30 the other night, last Tuesday night in particular, I saw a little programme coming on, and I'm all interested to see the involvement of one Gerry Anderson, your good self. Well, shock horror. And I'm not talking about the antique. He asks a number of questions. Have you been on the sunbed and forgot the time? Had someone gone crazy with the number 9 grease paint stick, stage makeup for those who are not in the loop? Red was the colour of the face. Had someone slapped your cheek? So many questions I forgot all about the antique and the storyline. Was all that deliberate, or was the colour wrong on my TV? Has Sean Coyle paid for a round of drinks? Geordie had nothing to do with it this time, had he? Had you been up to your wee shed and eaten too many mashy strawberries? The questions go on and on. What's behind this is that he is saying that I look unnaturally tanned on television a couple of nights ago. And do you know what my answer to that is?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right. Because when that particular episode was filmed, I had just come back from my holidays the day before. And I was naturally tanned, not like the others. Welcome. What? And
there's
please
a call.
I know there's a call. Can't you see me trying to get myself geared up for it? Hello, good morning.
Hello, Gerry. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Tell you why I'm ringing. Petard. You said that Stephen was going to hoist himself on his own petard.
Yes.
I just read a thing very recently explaining what that was about, and I thought you might like to know.
I know already, but go ahead. The listeners may not know.
Apparently, is a big box of gunpowder.
Yes.
And you would have gone medieval times. You would have gone down to your neighbour's castle or whatever it was.
Yes.
And you would have raised this big box of gunpowder up the wall, and then you'd have blown it up.
That's right.
But you had to hoist your own petard. If you went in, and it was a dangerous thing to do because it would have blown up on you.
That's right,
So
yeah.
But you would not be hoisted by your own petard. You would go and hoist your own petard. And you said to Stephen, you've been hoisted by your own petard.
But people say that. People say that because they don't really understand what the petard is, so they say hoisted by his own petard. That's what the expression is.
But I thought somebody like you would be correcting people on that.
But I'm just trying to ingratiate myself to the lumpen proletariat. You see, if I say hoist my own petard, it doesn't make any sense. But if you say hoisted by your own petard, you see, this is very complicated, and people may be leaving us now. So I don't know what to say. Well, thank you for that nugget of information. Do you know anything else of interest to people?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to throw all my.
Don't be throwing it all away at the one time.
Okay, Gerry.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You see people ringing up that know stuff.
Yeah.
A gentleman writes to me, a poet.
I would like to hear more about that.
Well, so what more was it to hear?
What was it? What did he say again? I didn't know that. I thought it was something to do with a yard arm or a hanging or something.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I pretended that I knew. I actually thought it was a kind of a spear or a lance, and that you'd be hoisted up by your own lance.
I thought it was, the yard arm, or you call it, of a.
Oh, I'll have a drink now. The sun's below the yard arm.
I thought it had to do with being hot.
No, it's not.
So
some kind of nautical thing. He said it was an explosive, a bunch of explosives.
And you
hoisted a petard. You hoisted it up. And if you're, say for instance, you're at the siege of Derry.
Right.
And you were outside trying to get in.
Yes.
And you're trying to blow the people away. The Protestants are inside.
Right.
Suppose you're trying to blow them away.
Right.
Well, you would have a big box of explosive. You try and hoist it up.
Well, how did I hoist it up?
Using a hoist.
Yeah, but how did I do it?
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how a hoist works. Well, you'd set up a hoist and you'd hoist up your potatoes.
No, but I'm outside the walls now.
Yes.
And I've got a hoist.
Maybe you dragged it over.
So what
you see, you're underneath. They can't see you because they're looking over the top of the wall. You're in below, you see. You're right down on the side of the wall and they can't get you. And you've got a hoist. You're hoisting your own petard. You see, and you're trying to hoist it up to such a level, such an altitude that will blow up and damage them. Because
so therefore, I would put this box of explosives on this hoist with a fuse.
And you would hoist it up.
I'd have to time it perfectly with this lit fuse.
Yeah.
So I would and pull it up the top.
Yes.
And the boy with a bow and arrow hanging over the top, I would blow up there.
He'd say, "Jeez, boys, there's a petard coming. There's a boy there hoisting a petard. Jeez, get back, boys. She's going to go. She's going to blow. That petard been hoisted up there with them boys."
So That doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. But
Why did you not question him? Why did you not?
Because I was enjoying himself. He was enjoying himself. I didn't want to question him. Seamus Heaney writes to me, I was sitting in my chair on Saturday night, long past my bedtime, I might add. I go to bed increasingly early these days, especially when the nights are drawing in, so that I can take advantage of the daytime, short enough though it may be. I'm always up at 6. Suddenly, well, quite quickly, I suppose I could say suddenly, but rapidly, I suppose I could say, without hesitation, an old episode of Top of the Pops popped up on my screen. I'll watch a bit of this, I said to Herbert, my dog, and between my finger and thumb, squatted the thing for changing the channel. He said, I'll change the channel with this, in the hope that wee Willie Harris, I thought, would perhaps make an appearance. I've always been a big fan of wee Willie Harris. I can't remember, what was his hit now? Do you remember wee Willie Harris's hit? What did he sing?
I don't know.
Oh, Great Balls of Fire, was it?
Jerry Lee Lewis?
That was Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, but it
Great Balls of Fire.
Cover version of one of his, yeah.
Was it?
I think you could be right.
It's funny how these things escape your mind. I've been kind of forgetting things of late. As a matter of fact, I've been actually writing couplets that rhyme. I'm a little worried about myself. Anyway, no wee Willie Harris appeared, but who should come on but an undertone, singing My Perfect Cousin. What a wonderful song. PC, you might say, well before its time. As I shuffled my bedroom slippers and snapped my fingers, grooving to the beat, I think the expression is, 2 lines of the song sprang out and hit me like a snipe on the forehead. Do you know the way a snipe will swoop down there? And a particular time of the year, and if you're not very careful, you remove your forehead from his line of flight, the snipe will smite you on the forehead. That's a very painful snipe. Anyway, the 2 lines were, and let me get the onomatopoeia here right in the scansion. He thinks that I'm a cabbage, and because I watch a university challenge. You see, you notice that almost rhymes. Seamus, I said to myself, why can't you write great lines like Kevin Sharkey does? I also saw a very young and a very brash Mickey Bradley throwing shapes. I thought he was moving very strangely behind the... Did you something to say? I saw it myself. He was going down on one knee like some kind of crazed dervish. I thought to myself, he's not the chap he is today. For some reason, he looked like some kind of bogman from Crossmaglen, and after all, bogmen from Crossmaglen are very valued members of our society, I have to say. Then I went to bed about 6 or 7, wondering whether it all went wrong for the undertones. I see that Fergal Sharkey is now a pop star. He used to be a pop star, but now he's a pop czar. He dropped the S, which is great. I checked under the bed for concealed snipe and went to sleep. Seamus here, Aaron Gobra. He should write to us more often. Seamus, thank you for that letter.
Yes.
Very good. Here's a great song by a new band called Coat Yard Hounds, featuring Bob Dylan's son and 2 girls, are the Dixie Chicks. It's a great song.
Cold Chicago nights, chains on tires, you're digging out snow, that wind, it just ain't right. I made up my mind, I'm heading home.
Oh babe, oh can't you give it time? I'll keep you warm at night. This town is all I know,
And I can see you in my life.
stay inside.
I can't go outside,
Just please don't go.
so I gotta go.
Cause baby, your winter is nothing but prison. It drives me away.
And
But baby, come summer, then we'll be together. Time will come again.
till then I'll see you in the spring. So don't throw it all away.
feels like I'm on fire. Oh no, it just ain't right. Makes me sweat at night. I'd rather be alone.
'Cause baby, all summer is nothing but prison. It drives me away. And maybe come a winter we can't be together, but
love will come again.
till then I'll see you in the spring. So don't throw it all away.
Throw it all away.
You know I live just to see your eyes. I'll meet you halfway.
Makes me
I'll
fall
meet you
in for
halfway
me.
by
You'll
the
find a
runaway side.
I'll find you, baby.
'Cause baby, your winter is nothing but prison. It drives me away. And maybe come summer we can be together. Time will come again when I'll see you in the spring. So don't throw it all away. Don't throw it away. So don't throw it all away. Throw it all away.
Great song. That's a band called the Courtyard Hounds, featuring Jacob Dylan, Bob Dylan's son, and the two girls, the Dixie Chicks, who you were nearly arrested, Emily Robinson and Marty McGuire. And one of them's married to a guy from Northern Ireland, isn't he? Do you know about that? I remember seeing a Dixie Chick in,
Yes.
where was it, in Greensport somewhere?
Listen to your program.
That's right, yeah. And they listen away to this programme, so good luck, girls. I always liked them because President Bush hated them, so that's as good a reason to like them as any. Now, I've got it all here.
I said to a man on Saturday night,
Yes.
speaking to an American
Another,
gentleman.
you got an American man,
I met
Saturday
an
night.
American man, yeah. And I was chatting to him, and he comes up this, that, and the other, but politics and all, and I said, you know what I mean? And you know, how's your man getting on? And he's useless and all. I said, well, he's better than Bush, isn't he? Yeah, it's like Bush was an embarrassment. He just looked at me. He's a big Bush supporter. Him and his wife are big Bush supporters. And he says, well, what was so embarrassing about him? You tell me what was so embarrassing about him. And he just looked at me. And I couldn't think of anything.
The worst thing I ever did was talking to a fella in New York one time, and in a bar, and he seemed a normal sort of a guy. And we were talking about Afghanistan, that kind of thing, you see. And I said to him, of course, the only reason the Americans are in Afghanistan is because of the pipeline. He says, what pipeline? I said, the pipeline that brings the oil from the Russians down to the Caspian Sea. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you see, if the Taliban are in control of the pipeline, the big oil companies don't get any oil. He said, that's the only reason they're in Afghanistan. He says, what do you mean? I said, that's the only reason. Why did you not know that? He said, what do you mean? It's going to hit me.
Yeah.
It's going to hit me because they thought I was being horrible. Listen, we've got the answer to this. Now, hoisted by your own petard means being blown up by your own bomb in medieval times. Now, there was a lot of confusion about this because if a petard is a bomb, as a box of explosives. If it were to detonate prematurely due to a faulty or short, slow match, the engineer would be lifted or hoisted by the explosion. In other words, hoisted by his own petard. And it came into popular usage because of basically a line out of Shakespeare. And it's not the line, he says, hoisted with his own petard. And there's no D on it because Shakespeare was making a joke. In the following passage, the letters refer to instructions written by Uncle Claudius the King, Hamlet, to be carried sealed to the King of England by Hamlet, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, as Hamlet's schoolfellows. The letters contain a death warrant against Hamlet, who will later open and modify them to instead request the execution of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Engineer refers to a military engineer. This is the part from Shakespeare. There's letters sealed in my two schoolfellows, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged. They bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petar, and shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them to the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet. One in one line, two crafts directly meet. So Shakespeare says hoist with his own petar, but he was making a joke. Do you know what a petar is?
That's what I'm asking you.
A fart. A petard is a box of explosive with a D on it. A petar, P-E-T-A-R, is a fart. Have you ever heard of that legendary Victorian performer, Le Pétomane? The man who could play the Marseillaise with his bum. Remember him?
Yes.
Look at the stuff people are learning in this programme, and they're listening to Hugo.
So,
what?
So which one is it?
Rosencrantz or Guildenstern?
No, which one? Is it petard?
Petard, yeah.
Hoisted by his own petard?
Yes, that's it, yeah.
So, is it the bomb?
Yes, if you're hoisted by your own petard, it means your bomb blows up and you're blown up along with it. You're hoisted, thrown up in the air. I said that 10 minutes ago. You're not listening.
I would love to know what sort of bomb it was.
Ach, stop. I know you don't like jokes, says Ivan McDonald, but what happens if you play country and western music in reverse? The old one.
Ach.
Your health kids, wife and the wee dog all come back to you. Yes, thank you for that. We heard that 20 years ago. There's a gentleman who says the Queen is applying for poverty status. Have you read this?
No.
The Queen is applying for poverty status in order to have expenses paid by the taxpayers. There's a status called poverty. And now I'm no expert, he says, but in my opinion, amongst the circumstances that disqualify you from pleading poverty should be owning your own crown and living in a palace. And here's a gentleman who says, I've got a tube of Preparation H at home that says in small print on the back, no known case of overdose. Sounds like a challenge to me. And the gentleman writes to me and he said, well... No, I won't read that because I haven't got time to read it. Right, I'm just looking at some of these. A petard was a sailor's ponytail, which was covered in tar to stop lice. Oh, no. Being hoisted by your own petard was to be hung by the ponytail from the yardarm. No, that's wrong.
I thought it was something to do with hanging, though.
No, but he also says that anybody with a ponytail should be hanged. You see, it's a little joke. You see, no, it's not that. We know it's not that. Others here. Joseph Bradley said the word remains in modern usage in the phrase hoist with one's own petard, which means to be harmed by one's own plan to harm someone else, or to fall into one's own trap, literally implying that one could be lifted up, hoist, or blown upward by one's own box of explosives. So there we are. I think we've covered that adequately.
Did you see Joe last night?
Joe whom?
Joe Mahan.
Very old looking.
Oh, don't say that.
Getting very old, yeah.
Don't say that.
It's getting very old. Just
No.
the march of time.
No, the only thing that Joe should stop doing is folding his arms.
You should stop talking like that.
No, Joe, that's the way Joe. No, Joe, it was a great programme.
He should stop folding his arms.
Enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
If Mr. Tuft, I didn't see the programme, I just saw a little glimpse.
He's on Rathlin.
How exciting. If Mr. Tuft is on, ask him all about the big red fire engine being called to his house on Friday. Sticking a tree in your fire is not a sensible way to keep you warm.
What? Oh, no.
It looks as if the fire brigade was called to
Right.
give him a ring.
We'll get him after
See if he's
the news.
okay. Apparently he put a tree in his fire. I wonder, did he cut it down first? Oh, ring. Oh, that's a bit of excitement. See how excited I'm
Yes,
getting?
I know.
Hope he wasn't harmed in any way.
No.
Hey,
Anyway,
that'll sober him up.
there's the news.
Right, back after the news.
On 92 to 95 FM,
and 1341 medium wave.
this is BBC Radio Ulster.
And at the BBC News Desk, this is Keith Burnside. A man's been arrested over the IRA murder of a policeman in Magherafelt 29 years ago. Reserve Constable John Proctor was shot in the car park of the Mid-Ulster Hospital after visiting his wife and newborn baby son in September 1981. The man being questioned is 54 years old and was arrested in Swatra this morning. David Miliband has taken the stage at the Labour Party conference in Manchester and received a standing ovation. Since losing his bid to be the Labour leader to his brother Ed, he said he'd been humbled by the support he received.
I'm really, really, really proud. I'm so proud of my campaign. I'm so proud of my party. But above all, I'm incredibly proud of my brother.
The Bank of Ireland is set to lose almost £36 million following the collapse of a London dairy-based housing developer. McDade Developments Ireland Limited was placed in administration in June this year. The company did much of its business in County Donegal, but also had land or developments in Derry, Cavan and Longford. The Israeli media is reporting that fresh construction has resumed at settlements on the West Bank just hours after a freeze on building lapsed. The move could threaten the wider peace talks, as Wera Davies reports.
United States negotiators still insist the peace talks can be salvaged, despite President Obama's call for an extension of the settlement freeze going unheeded by Israel. The end of the partial building freeze and the resumption of new settlement building, however symbolic, is a serious challenge to the peace process. Having previously made it clear he would walk away from the talks if settlement construction resumed on Palestinian land, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is in a difficult position. He's been urged to stay in the talks by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, but Israel is offering, at least publicly, few concessions to the Palestinians in return.
To the weather now with Angie Phillips.
Cloud will tend to come and go as the day progresses, but essentially it's still a fine and dry start to the week with bright spells or hazy sunshine, which should lift temperatures to 15 or 16 Celsius. Feeling pleasant too in afternoon sunshine with just a light southeasterly breeze. After a dry evening, it's likely to become cloudy and a bit damp at times during the night.
BBC News.
BBC Radio Ulster. Travel news.
In Clonus, the B36 Monaghan Road is closed from Rusley Main Street to Clock Road until Friday night. Diversions are in operation. And in Ballygolly, there are lane closures on the A5 Omagh Road at BallymcElroy from Ballynasaggart Road to Shantavney Road. A traffic control is in place and delays can be expected. Looking at flights in at Belfast International Airport, this morning's flight from Manchester has been further delayed until 11:15. And at the George Best Belfast City Airport, the 10 to 12 Birmingham flight has been delayed until 12:15. And the 12:20 arrival from Heathrow is expected at 1 o'clock. Aileen Moynell reporting.
Travel news on BBC Radio Ulster. In an hour's time on Talkback with Wendy Austin, Cain and Abel, David and Ed. Now the natural order's broken. Will things ever be the same for the Millibans? Tell me your tales of seething sibling rivalry. They sponsored the Down team. Now should the Ulster Bank sponsor the Orange Order? Why did the mass boycott not work? We'll be asking the woman behind it. And snoring. 1 in 20 of us decamped to the other room because of it. Is it wrecking your life or your relationship? Tell me on Talkback today.
How loudly do you snore?
I'm like a hippo.
Really?
Absolutely.
Jolly good. The number to ring if you want to contact this programme is 08459. You're like a hippo?
Yeah, apparently so.
A hippo?
Yeah, apparently it's really
wonderful.
bad. Yeah.
Number to ring if you want to contact this programme is 084. Oh, listen, look at the big box of sweets we have here. This was handed in to us by a young lady for whom we got Davy Crockett's hat.
Yes.
Lovely big. Thank you very much. It's Helen, her name is. The number to ring if you want to contact this programme is 08459 555 678. Email address jerry.anderson@bbc.co.uk. Text messaging service 81771. All you have to do is just let your finger do the talking. Adam says, I regret to inform you that the following rant sails perilously close to xenophobia. We don't like that in this programme. But then again, as the rudder navigates towards an anti-English agenda, everyone should be satisfied. Winter cometh, soon the woodcock will drop into the winds and ditches, men will grow moustaches and sideburns, and women will go out on Saturday nights with longer dresses, although not by much. In order to welcome in the imminent change in the climate, I made a stew, my first stew since last winter. It was a simmering cauldron of beef, the holy trinity, of carrots, celery and onion, and my special ingredient, Tabasco sauce. Invented by?
What? Who?
Tabasco sauce.
Who invented Tabasco sauce? Who invented Tabasco sauce?
Yes.
J.P.
McElhinney, the man who lived up in Glenbeigh Castle in Donegal, an eccentric American millionaire who bought a big castle and brought James Stewart and Greta Garbo and everybody to Donegal, and my father-in-law sold Liberace a pair of shoes.
Oh, I thought it was Charlton Heston.
I know. I confided all this exactly to my workmates in Southampton. They all made that disgustingly English response. Please do the accent. Stew? Don't you have dumplings? What is the English fascination with dumplings? That is, balls of lard and flour. You and your compatriot have been there. An earlier diaspora. Did you ever eat dumplings? Did you ever eat a dumpling?
Don't know.
I have eaten dumplings. Not the Chinese ones. The ones that English people eat. I've coughed and gorbed in many houses in Northern Ireland, Protestant, Catholic, and I've never even encountered as much of a trace of a dumpling. The dichotomy is thus: stew, beef and veg eaten with spuds by healthy Celts, stew, beef and veg eaten with suet, like stodgy balls of lard by Anglicans. Discuss. Continue on, he says. Here's a song I haven't played for a long time, and it is remiss of me, I have to say. It's Kevin Doherty.
Tugboat coming, steamship coming, the pilot's in the wheelhouse humming. He married the daughter of a noble proctor. He's looking out and all his Hudson water, sees them come from their bog roads, come in their coffin loads to work the big machine. In the land of dreams, well, the docks are crowded, hot and loud. He'd drown them all if the laws allowed it, but the Constitution is no solution. It just allows this vile pollution. Well, he don't mind a Dutchman, the Swedes or the Prussians, the Belgians or the Brits. Wouldn't give those Irishmen his spit. So pull a ladder up, boy. Well, it's 1950 in some English city. Brill cream boys and all the girls are so pretty, and hands like shovels on the double, digging through the empire's rubble. But they've got unclean habits, and they breed just like rabbits. They're a burden on the state, but they all think Mr. Bevan is great. There are poor relations left their fledgling nation to come here and blow up all of our railway stations. Shadowy figures in pubs and diggers, they load the guns and they pull the triggers. Give me fine bone china with Elizabeth Regina, and the next Inspector Morse.
How could they do that to a horse? They're all sons of bitches with their fuses and their switches and their ancient bloody hurt. Well, we all hurt Patty for what it's worth. So pull the ladder up, boy. The world is full of causes, and all they're gonna get you is some bleeding heart applause. Pull the ladder up, boys. Leave them to their notion. They might as well be out there trying to dig holes in the ocean. So pull the ladder up, boy. There's a tugboat coming, steamship coming, pilots in the wheelhouse hum.
I want beautiful children with you. There is nothing in this world I wouldn't do to win you over. A smile on your face every day. I don't care what I would have to say. You make me bolder. When I am at your beat by my side, when we are and we will take a ride, you make me fly. When I am at your beat by my side, when we are and we will take a ride, you let me cry. Talking late into the night with you, with a bottle of the sweet whiskey too. We move in closer, sleeping late into the day with you. Savor every drop of fresh morning dew as we grow older. When I am at your beat by my side, when we are and we will take a ride, you make me fly. When I am at your beat by my side, when we are and we will take a ride, you let me cry. One breath from your sweet mouth reveals you know exactly how I feel. When your hand is on my shoulder, and I know when our day has come, there'll be no more reasons left for to run. The chase is over.
A great song that is. That's Marion Green. That's a song called You Make Me Fly from her album, which is called Dear Irish Boy. She's coming in to see us in studio. You'd hardly believe it, but she's Danish. She's coming in on Friday week, I think it is. Just for a little Sean Noss. You know what a Sean Noss is, don't you?
A little chat, is it?
No, Sean Noss is a little solo sing. Got somebody else coming in that day as well, but she's going to come in. She's coming in to see me. Listen, do you know the way people always are curious to what I'm really like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Young lady writes to me, and I hope she doesn't mind. I just thought this was very pithy, and it summed up everything that you need to know about me. I met this young lady at the weekend at the bus station. She said, I thought you were down to earth, handsome and pleasant. Isn't that a good description?
What are we doing at the bus station?
Getting a bus. Getting a bus. I always get the bus from Derry to London, Derry to Belfast.
Why?
Because
Why?
Because it's free.
What do you mean it's free? There's a free service.
No.
Is there?
No, it's free for some.
Well, anyway, there's a call on one. That's
It's free for people who fought in the war.
That's changed the conversation. Tell me, do you know what I watched on Saturday afternoon?
I don't know.
I have to tell you this. I must
Go on.
fess up. Right?
Fess up.
I watched the result of the Labour Party election.
The millipedes.
I watched it.
You must be completely out of your mind.
I turned over from the football.
Yeah, which false brother will win?
But the thing is, what I only discovered, that's when you realise that they knew the result. Everybody knew the result, and we went through all this, putting it up on the screens and telling you the percentages and all. And then when it came to the last one, the big,
I know.
Oh, I've been pipped at the post.
Everything is show business.
And they knew
everything
all
is show
along.
business. Paul Bradley says, having been listening to your programme, Gerry, recently, I got a job, unfortunately. I really need something handy like your number. 2 hours a day. That's actually 1.5. And yes, your voice still sounds like you're talking through your nose, but that's something physical. It's nothing to do with the microphone. But this makes a change to what you usually talk through. You hear that? Hear that? Nevertheless, have Ken flogged just for the crack. I mean, what does he actually do up there anyway? Well, let me just say in defence of Ken. Ken is a very, very hard-working man. He's the only man here. Without him, this whole place would fall down.
Closes down.
He's in charge of so many programs, so many pieces of equipment, so many plugs. He's got so many screwdrivers that when you walk in there, it would blind you.
Yeah.
The glint of the steel would blind you. Anyway, I digress. I need you to settle something. Being a fan of a band called the Weepies, by your introduction, I found the Weepies years ago. My son recently asked would I take him to see a band called Paramore in Dublin. I asked him for a sample of what I could expect. I'm not a big fan of today's teenage audio arsonists. And to my surprise, I heard the familiar tunes of the Weepies. I assumed this was a reformation of the same American-Canadian band or whatever, much to the boy's chagrin. How could I know or like the same music as him? He flatly denies it's the same melody, vocalist or band at all. Says I know who will settle this. By thunder, sure isn't he a friend to the stars? Can you settle this for us, Gerry, please? I am 100% sure that it is the same vocalist, if not the same entire band. That's from a man called Big Ears. Well, as a matter of fact, I was very pleased to see at the weekend through my subscription to the Rolling Stone that the Weepies have finally hit the big time. They're now in the American charts.
Excellent.
And I'm so glad to hear that. Because you remember 2 or 3 years ago they came here and I was the only person who bothered about them. And they were surprised that anybody wanted to talk to them on the radio. I wonder will they remember me?
Of course they will.
They will. They'll say there was a guy in Ireland without him. But I thought they were brilliant. And their new album's called what's it called? Be the Thrill? No, Be My Thrill it's called. And it's in the American charts. And the single's in the download charts, but the actual CD is in the American charts. Isn't that great? I'm so happy for them.
According to Joe from Polglass.
Yes?
Now, he says that about 10 years ago, you played Elvis singing Whiskey in the Jar.
No,
he said, I've never been able to find it. Can you tell me where I can get it?
I think he had been drinking a little of it himself at the time. No, I've never played Elvis singing Whiskey in the Jar. I think I might have remembered that. Gerry, could you please play a request today for all my old colleagues who used to work so many years ago in McIvers in Quigley's Point during the 1940s? We had such great crack, and I got to listen to your show on my grandson's computer. I thought he was going to say, we used to listen to your show then. If you could play the request today, it would be great, as I won't be able to tune in for a few months till I visit again. I remember great characters like Johnny the Gate, Sean, Gerry, Paddy Falcara, Mary White, Kieran, and so many others. We had nothing, but we managed to have a laugh, which is the main thing. I'm married here in the US in Alabama, and it's great to hear you. That's from Mary Trainer. Thank you, Mary. Welcome aboard. Thank you for listening to the programme. We enjoy people from afar. A gentleman wrote to me from somewhere.
Was that a shirt factory?
Let me just check. McIvers in Quigley's Point? I don't know. Maybe it's very rare to have a shirt factory out in the country. Shirt factories were usually in towns, weren't they, in cities?
I'm only asking you.
I'm not saying that you're wrong to ask. I'm just saying, I'm just parrying, trying to help. You know, don't jump down my throat.
There's a man on one.
Is there? Listen,
a man who had an accident.
I'm very worried about. Is this Geordie?
Yes.
Well, I'm hearing disturbing reports.
Well,
is he okay about this?
Well, we never. We
heard something quite odd a moment ago, didn't we?
Go ahead.
I don't know how to approach this. Geordie?
Hello, Ger.
Geordie, I believe you had some kind of domestic crisis over the weekend.
The chimney went on fire.
But that's not an unusual thing. I mean, it's not a serious thing.
Well, it is here, like. I had a big, a buck ice now. That's not a she ice. The old buck ice. It's full of old
Sorry,
nuts.
hold on a second. What's he saying?
A buck ice? I don't know what that
What's that word you used there?
The buck ice is full of old nuts and...
Buck ash.
Ah.
Ah, right. A
And
buck
it's
ash,
full
which
of
is,
old nuts and old stumps and,
this is a part of the ash tree.
Yes.
Now, how big a branch was this?
Well, now, you had one end sat on the old sofa and had the other end in the fire.
Let me just get this straight. You had one end on the sofa
Uh-huh.
and the other in the fire. Did it not occur to you that maybe the fire would travel along?
With turf and all around it.
Uh-huh. Well, what was the idea? When you put this big branch, how long was it? Can you give me footage? Would it be 5, 6 feet long?
No, maybe near 8.
8 feet long. So you had an 8-foot branch. Were there any leaves on it?
No.
It was just an 8-foot long
Aye.
piece of an ash tree.
Yes.
And you put one end in the fire.
I put one end in the sofa.
And what did you think was going to happen? Did you think it would suddenly eat away, burn away?
Well, it's burns, I just push it on in a bit.
But alas, this was not the result.
No.
Tell me what sadly enough, I think I can nearly imagine what the result of that would be. I imagine the flame would have travelled along the
whole lot went up there. Whole lot went up.
Well, I apologise for laughing, but
pear-shaped.
You may have foreseen that with a little. Can I suggest that perhaps at the time you did this, maybe perhaps you weren't entirely yourself?
Oh, I was all right.
What were you thinking of?
Well, I was now the frost was coming in. I was looking a bit of heat.
But have you ever done that before? Put an 8-foot log on the fire?
Oh, I have, many times.
And what was the result?
Well, it didn't. It worked out all right any other time.
Was it because it was the ash? Is that it?
Ah, and out Buckeyes.
Right now, and I know this is a very serious thing, and people at home are probably saying, "Why is he laughing at a man's home being burnt?" Was there any damage sustained by your home?
Oh, no, well, smoke was silly. And I had to get my wee finches out for the ever near gas for the smoke.
Have you got finches in the house?
Ah, and a wee kid.
You had to get them. Were they okay?
Oh, aye, but the dogs had a bit of stuff. They bailed over the half door.
Dogs know the score.
They know the score.
Once the dog sees the
and
house.
Gerry, before we go now, I know you like books. You're a reader.
I'm a reader, yes.
Well, now, Paula Dimpney Riggs.
Sorry?
Paula Dimpney Riggs.
Yes.
Night of the Dark Moon.
Uh-huh.
It's the best book. She married a man, Quinn, and you called her Anna.
Oh.
Right.
Interesting, yeah.
So wait to hear this now.
Uh-huh.
Did you purchase this book without a cover? If you did, you should be awarded a stolen property. And was reported unsold and destroyed by a retailer. Now the publisher has received payment for this book.
What are you reading? You're reading something there. What are you reading? Is this on the front of the book?
It says about the book.
In other words, it's been stolen out of a library.
Did you purchase? It says, did you purchase this book without a cover?
Oh, sorry.
What?
Okay. I'm having difficulty following what this is about.
Did you purchase?
Yes, I heard
this
that.
book without a cover?
Well, why are the people writing that in the book asking you if you purchased it without a cover? And if you haven't purchased it,
and it says if you did, you should be aware it is stolen property, and is reported unsold and destroyed by a retailer. Now the publisher has received any payment for this book.
I know what that is.
What?
That's a proof copy.
Is it?
That's a proof copy.
Well, I know you. One thing about you, Gerry, you have brains.
No. I just happen to know that. So what happens is when you write a book, you see what they do. They send you a copy, a kind of a proof copy for you to look at it and correct any mistakes. And then you send that back, and then they publish it for real. Then.
Oh.
It's a proof copy. Very valuable sometimes they are. I would keep that if I were you.
Oh, I'll get. Are you any notion of bringing out another book?
I'm writing one at the moment.
Good on you.
I'm working heavily.
Good on you.
One of the things that a little information has reached us this morning, I believe the fire brigade were called to your house.
That's right.
And you wouldn't let them in.
No, they couldn't come in. No, all right. No, the dogs were afraid of the dogs.
But Mr. Coyle, what did we hear?
No, they must have been afraid of the dogs. That's right. The firemen.
Were they afraid to come in?
Must have been afraid
Yes,
of the dogs.
they were all at the gate and were afraid of them. And I says, don't worry, them dogs not touch you as long as I'm here.
And they said, no way.
Oh,
And-
they did.
And okay, well, they had no reason to come in because did you tackle the flame yourself?
Well, I threw a go of stuff round, but it didn't do much good. No, I took them and Roy Cruiser and all the Bondbridge Fire Brigade.
All right. Well, thanks to them for making the call.
Yes.
And so there was no real need for them after all.
Well, I had really, Gerry. Now, the good old Jesus, he was going up and the flames was flying up through the chimney boy, and the street was everywhere.
Right. Well, maybe perhaps there are lessons to be learned from that.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure.
Okay then, Gerry.
All right then. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye. Did you ever hear of that?
No.
A man putting a log in the fire that's 8 foot long and putting the other end on
There's
the
the story.
sofa.
Don't do that.
Don't do this at home.
Yeah, that's right. Linda's on too.
Do not do it at home.
Apparently, it was Jim Brown you played.
Jim Brown?
Yeah.
Singing Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was pointed out to me the other day, and I don't suppose you've ever realised that. I was doing, it's funny enough, I'm just talking to Jordy about this book that I'm writing, and I'm writing a wee bit about Elvis Presley. Remember the story?
Are you telling the story?
In the book, yeah.
About how you met him?
My experience with Elvis.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. And one of the things that occurred to me was this friend of mine who introduced me to Elvis, he knew a lot about Elvis, and the first thing he told me was that when he first met Elvis, who was Elvis's idol? Singing idol.
Oh, sorry. Who was Elvis's singing idol?
Think about it.
Right. Let me.
Dean Martin. I let it out. Dean Martin. Absolutely. Because see when he said, you saw me crying in the chapel. That's not very far away from you saw me crying. Think of it. You can hear Dean Martin in Elvis Presley's voice all the time. And nobody has noticed that. And but once I realised that and I listened to it, I went, absolutely right. Elvis Presley wanted to be Dean Martin. And there's this big rock and roll rebel. Dean Martin was his favourite song. You saw me crying in the chapel.
And who's my favourite singer?
Dave D. Dozy Beaky McIntyre.
Dean Martin.
There you are, you say. And nobody could be more different than you and Elvis.
Yeah.
I have to say. Good morning, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry about that. I had to get that off my chest.
I'm glad you have got it off your chest.
I feel better now. I feel a new man.
I feel, yeah.
I hope you don't. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I was just ringing to say thank you to Helen Quigley. I sent in the Davy Crockett hat.
Oh, some of these sweets belong to you then? She sent us in a lovely...
No, I got a box of sweets this morning through post.
Lovely.
And a lovely card and a photograph of the boy with the hat on.
Oh, fantastic. So she's looking after everybody.
Oh, she is, surely.
Excellent.
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you very much indeed. She really appreciated that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when I saw her walking in there with that Davy Crockett hat, I fancied her greatly. Something about a Davy Crockett hat brings out the worst in me.
Oh, it does, surely, yeah.
And it's a lovely, lovely hat and a genuine thing. And
it was. You see, we bought that in Niagara Falls.
Not a Mickey Mouse thing at all.
A number of years ago.
Is Niagara Falls an incredibly revealing place, isn't it?
Beautiful. We had went to America.
But I'm talking about the town, though. The actual town itself, Niagara, isn't it? Awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
We had went to America, and then we stayed with my husband's sister for a week, and then we went to Niagara Falls, had a few days there, and went on to Toronto.
Yeah.
To friends there.
Yeah, but Niagara Falls itself, the town, is horrible, isn't it?
Well.
I mean, you see these beautiful, wonderful falls, and then you go around the corner,
Yeah.
and it's Portrush. Worse than Portrush.
That's right. I saw all dirty postcards.
Oh, unbelievable. I couldn't hardly get them. I had so many of them, I had to get 2 more cases. Anyway, listen,
Can
thank
I
you for...
tell you another story?
Go ahead, yeah.
We had a son went off to America
Yeah.
to walk the Appalachian Mountains.
Did he?
Yeah, thing, with high content and those nuts and things in them. So he didn't get the parcel, the first parcel.
Right.
He got every other parcel every month after that.
Mm-hmm.
He came home in January and he stayed with us for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And we took him back to the airport one day, and we came home from the airport, and guess what?
The chocolate.
The first parcel had arrived back at our door.
Well,
it was in a plastic bag, and it said, If there's any contents missing in this parcel, contact us. It was post office or whatever. But we looked at it and I said, no, I think it had been burned. So my husband and I put rubber gloves on, took it out the back onto a table, and we proceeded to open it.
Yeah.
And there was a wee hole at one side, there was a wee hole at the other, and we opened it. And what was left?
What?
The wrappers and the nuts.
How do you think?
The mice didn't like the nuts.
The mice,
or the wrappers.
The mice don't like the nuts.
They had went in at one end and they had eaten every pick of chocolate.
The wee buggers.
And no nuts.
Left
the
nuts.
nuts were all left in it, and the wrappers were sitting.
There's a moral and a story to be learnt there, but I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'll have to think about it.
No, I don't know either.
Okay.
But, like, that hit the bin quickly.
Okay, so keep your nuts away from mice because they won't like them. All right, then. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You see, this is the kind of thing you learn in this programme. I mean, how many people before they listened to this programme this morning would be certain that mice don't like nuts?
Yeah.
See, you don't know that. You don't know this kind of
I thought they
stuff.
had everything.
Yeah. No, they don't like nuts. They draw the line at nuts. Paul McAvoy's been to Germany.
I haven't.
No. Have you not?
No.
Have you not?
No.
I remember being in Germany and West Berlin.
It doesn't.
And East Berlin as well.
It doesn't call me. It doesn't do anything for me.
Oh, Germany's great.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. Anyway, Paul McAvoy writes me his, monthly epistle from Warren Point. Yeah. He said, the Down All-Ireland GAA football team didn't bring home Sam. Much yearned for Sam Maguire. It was just the luck of the draw. Cork came up the victors. They were too hungry. I don't criticise sporting efforts as the contesting teams all try their best to bring home the cup. Down players and their supporters just didn't turn up. They didn't play for the jersey. The warm weather has gone for a while. The dull, dark, damp days are gradually taking over. The mornings are dull. The dawn chorus seems to be lost. Just one or two birds break the quietness, but that's about all. I had a wonderful 5 days holiday during the end of August in Germany with my son, who has a wonderful conveyor and first-class map reader in finding the different places we visit. The weather was very warm, the people themselves very helpful, and ever so matter-of-fact, typical Teutons. All things must be right. I noticed that a great number of young and elderly ladies all had dogs, Pekingese and toy dogs, very few Alsatians. But what caught my eye was the broad, impressive streets were litter-free and very little dog poo. The shock came when we entered the off-streets of Berlin. There was quite a change. Attractive blonde-haired women wearing stiletto-heeled shoes and very short, tight skirts. Probably women for leisure. Well, we've got a few of them in Belfast too. Brass bands were very much in evidence, all playing hit tunes and classical music. Riverboats were plentiful. I saw one named Captain Morgan and another called Cologne, all attractively decorated in awnings to keep the sun of the large number of passengers on board who were smoking cigars and drinking lager. The food was wonderful. Quite a variety of restaurants open until midnight with great crowds all eating big plates of assorted grub out in the main streets. No shouting or screaming there. Everything orderly. On Saturday the 24th of August, which was a very warm sunny day, we all three visited the Reichstag, where there was a great number of people all taking photographs of the massive impressive building. My grandson Mark and myself slowly climbed the great number of steps up to the building whose massive pillars were pitted with bullet holes that had been filled in, so like home. We both stood at the main entrance door to the great meeting hall where Herr Hitler held meetings with members of the German war cabinet. Over the entrance is giant lettering. It says, "Dem Deutschlandvolk." Translated was, "Dem Germans." I won't go on with that. I just thought it was important to let the people know that some people are travelling. It's as simple as that. It's very important.
a house near me. All I need is a hell-raising neighbor. Copied me a brand new key. I would like to resist, but I don't think I'm able. If trouble has arrived, then alright. When trouble comes, dreams down, 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 Ruby says I am no fun, but I'd be round the block before she had come along. If I'm not in bed by closing time, send for the cavalry. If trouble has arrived, then alright. It's when trouble comes, ruins down, 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 down,
That's a band called the Burns Unit, and that's a song called Trouble. That's from an album called Sideshow. Someone on the line here, you
Yes,
say?
please.
Yes, please. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hi, good morning, Gerry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not too well, not too good this morning.
Oh, what seems to be the trouble?
Well, yesterday on my way to church, I decided to put some hand cream in my hands and took off all my rings, my wedding ring, engagement ring, and eternity ring, and just slightly distracted talking to the kids, and just jumped out of the car, went into church, and it was after church that I realised my rings were gone.
Oh, dear.
Part of me, when I first realised, was did I put them on this morning, and then it kind of just dawned on me, I did put them on, I put hand cream on, and I hopped out of the car, and the rings must have went scattering onto the street.
My God. Well, that's a very unusual thing to happen, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
but-
the good news is I have found two of them. I went straight to where we had just pulled the car in,
Uh-huh.
and my wedding ring and eternity ring was there.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, the engagement ring was gone.
Oh, dear. There isn't any old drains or anything about that there, is there?
Pardon?
Any old drains or anything about that?
There was a gutter further down, but I don't think it would have rolled that far. Say we searched the street. The other two rings were slightly damaged, so the possibility of a car maybe
yes.
running over them, and maybe the diamond ring catching in the tread of a tire or something, you know.
Or maybe it's guided.
Or maybe it's guided. We did do a good search of the road area when we realised there's a few people had come out of church and were helping us look. But again,
Oh, right. So tell me where this is again.
we actually, it's where that wee stretch of road between Primark and the Millennium Forum. It was just on the Primark side of the road where I had hopped out of the car.
Uh-huh. All right, okay.
And that's where it had just fallen.
All right then. So anyone who may come across that, or maybe pick that up, or whatever, or maybe perhaps looks at their car and finds it was an engagement ring sticking out of the treads of their tire, and probably wondering how it got there. That's how it got there. So maybe perhaps that'll turn up. Well, at least you got two of them back.
Yeah, that's the one joy that we have. I did get two of them back.
All right.
But we would appreciate it if somebody was on that stretch of road yesterday and did happen to find it's a gold diamond ring. So it actually has a cluster of diamonds on it. We would offer a reward for its safe return if somebody did happen to pick it up and was wondering what to do with it. Say we have contacted the police station and both the Millennium Forum and Primark as well. and they very kindly had put signs up for staff members if they had seen those rings, or if they had seen the ring to contact me, and there would be a reward for its return.
All right, then. Well, let's hope for the best. The number to ring if anyone can help you is 08459 555 678. And you never know, you might be lucky. People have been lucky like that before, getting things back. Okay, well, hope you get it back.
Thank you so much for letting me come on air. And
Not at all. It's a pleasure. This is why we're here.
Okay, thank you so much, Gerry.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you. This is why I'm here.
I know.
I'm here to help, to spread goodness.
Yeah.
Because, there's too much badness in the world. And anyone who comes in contact with me, they can feel the good radiating from me. And I say to myself, why not share that? For instance,
see if the man that I was talking to on Saturday night had got you. It would have been goodness radiating from you.
Well, you see,
blood.
You see, sometimes let me just explain what happens on this program. See, every once in a while, when there's some kind of a show or something like that on, I have to take it sometimes on face value that it's going to be good. So I don't know. So I give people the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes I mistakenly suggest that people should go to something. I'm not going to do it anymore, and maybe it turns out to be not so good. He was going to kill me, was he?
Yes. He wants his money back.
Well, I would have wanted mine back too, but I get in for nothing. Anyway, Kenneth Brown says, I was listening to your show a couple of months ago. Some woman was on about hedgehogs. Well, happens on a regular basis. Hedgehogs that were coming to her house, and she didn't know how to entertain them. Well, I usually show them old videos of the Hole in the Wall gang. That soon gets rid of them. What about the guy? Remember the guy you met?
Yes.
And you thought you couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, tell a story. It's great.
Oh, no.
Go on. You don't have to name him or anything.
No, but it's just...
No, but it's just, you just imagine. Imagine. Go on, tell a story.
Playing a poker machine.
Yeah.
In a pub.
Uh-huh.
And a big, heavy guy.
Uh-huh.
And it turned out he was a taxi driver.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. You know
this
what I
day
mean?
and age, yeah.
But he said to me, he says, you're working down at Radio Foyle? I says, He says, you can do us a favour, could you? I says, what's that? He says, I'm looking for a particular programme. I said, what's that? He says, a Hole in the Wall gang. He said, I have everything that they ever made, anything that was ever shown on the TV. He says, I'm missing one episode. He says,
one short.
One short. A complete collection of the Hole in the Wall gang. And he was bigger than me, and he said, well, I'll try and get it for you. You know what I mean?
Imagine if you...
And then he went on to tell me, he says, do you know what was the episode? Do you know where Andy went on? Uncle Andy went up and whatever Uncle Andy was doing. He says, you remember that one, don't you? And I said, aye, that was a good one. He says, well, that's the one I'm friggin' missing. That's the one I want. He said, can you get it for me? I said, I'll make inquiries. So,
do you know what would be great? Do you know if someone you really didn't like, and supposing you kidnapped them, put them in the house and made them watch every one of them. Would that be great? Wouldn't it be brilliant? But there's one missing. Did you ever get it for him? No?
No, I drew a blank.
Anyway, how do you entertain a hedgehog? Nobody knows that. I found out by chance, really. I have the solution. But do pass the information on to them, as it may help her when they next visit. Young hedgehogs apparently love nothing better than a saucer of warm milk. Now, I would have guessed that myself. And if she gives them this and plays soft Mozart music, preferably Mozart's Sonata in Moonlight, they really love that. They actually look up to you and actually smile.
Do you know that I talked to a hedgehog? And did you ever come across a hedgehog?
Well, there used to be one that lived in our... I'll tell you the story.
But did you? Yes. And I bet you talked to it.
No, let me tell you something.
You automatically talk to hedgehogs.
No, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a story which tells you a lot about my gardening skills.
Yes.
I, coincidentally, happen to have quite a large garden.
Yes.
At the back of my house, but I'm never in it.
Right.
Nobody is ever in it.
Right.
And this hedgehog came to live in it. Right.
Uh-huh.
And he thinks it's his.
Right.
He's away now. But he used to walk around and he'd never ever seen anybody. And he used to kind of fall asleep in the middle of it and everything, and we were afraid to go out because it was his garden.
Right.
He's never seen anyone. He's probably said, there's boys here, a whole field belonging to me. And he used to hang about all the time, never the slightest bit annoyed that anyone would go and see him. He'd probably never seen a human being.
And you never talked to him?
I looked out the window at him, and tried to communicate, but he didn't seem much into it. He was a lot of fleas, I thought. He was always scratching his arse.
The boy that I met, I was walking home from the pub one night, and I met a boy walking along the road, along the footpath. And I said to him, I said, where are you going at this time of the night?
Mm-hmm.
You seem to strike up a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked along. As we walked along, I talked away to him.
Did he say anything?
I told him to be careful crossing the road. I said, if you're crossing that road, boy, you be careful. You know, there's just free, friendly wee things. You just, I wasn't afraid of it or anything.
Do you know what I do? I do that too. When I go out for a walk, especially when I'm on my own. I was caught doing this one time, actually. It was very, very embarrassing. Down where I live is a little road I walk down all the time. There's hardly anybody on it. And there's a lot of cows down there in a particular field. I always say hello to them. I go, how's the crack, boys? So how you fixed for grass? He's all right. There's not much crack in there, boys. How's it going? He's okay. I don't like the look of your man down there with the horns. You better steer away from him. I'll tell you what, he's looking at you in a funny way. And tell us this, what's that cud you're chewing? Where did you get that? Is that one you were chewing yesterday? Is that a different one? Apparently he's regurgitate this stuff all the time. Many stomachs have you now? Apparently you have 3 or 4. If you any more, maybe 5. And I chatted away to them. And I was chatting away, shouting at them and all. And they all come round, gather round me. And I said, well, what's the crack? What's your name now? Daisy, is it? Is it Daisy? Is that how many miles have you up? And I looked around. There was a man standing. I went, hello? I said,
we gave this.
That's the wee thing I do. And he went, yeah.
But why is it that we talk to animals?
Because we have no friends, Sean. We have no friends.
There's a call.
Geordie is not as daft as you think. Many years ago, we moved into a new house and had a housewarming barbecue. There was a lot of drink taken, and when we ran out of fuel for the barbecue, on one of those parties, we broke into the building site next door and stole a 10-foot scaffolding plank. That's the kind of people that shouldn't drink. Put one end on the barbecue and just moved it along as it burned. It lasted until about 2 o'clock in the morning, so with nothing left to burn, I decided it would be a good idea to take every other wooden slat out of my daughter's bunk bed for the fire. Of course, when she came home the next day from staying at her friend's house, she jumped into the bed and went straight through it onto the floor. You see, this is the type of drink that can ruin a family. It's still known in the family as the Great Escape Barbecue. Yeah, thank you for that. We don't want your type of people writing to us. People who would burn their daughter's bed. It's a good idea, though. Could you please play Gerry Carney Paddy? Great show. What's Gerry Carney Paddy? Gerry Carney? Paddy? Song called Paddy by Gerry Carney. It's, if you have not got it, it's on YouTube. Okay, we shall check that. There's something in my ear. Do
I
you
hear
a
it.
sound? What is that?
We don't know.
What is it?
No, we're all curious.
Uh-huh. It's kind of like that. It's like somebody ringing me.
One, Janet said.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, hello. You've got your radio on there. Could I ask you to just turn it down a wee bit because I can hear a big echo in my ear?
Yes, we're going to do that, Gerry.
Oh, no problem. Sure, take your time, no hurry.
Hang on. I'll be as quick as I can.
You're all right,
Doing
okay.
it now.
See the way how I put people at ease.
Yes, and then when there's a call pending on 2 as well.
Thank you, John.
That's all.
It's very
Well,
nice.
can I tell you what I want to tell you, Gerry?
Go ahead, yes.
Yeah. First, I really enjoy your program, and when I can't get a radio to listen to, I'll sometimes watch it, if you like, on FreeSat. You know, the way
Yes.
you can get it digitally on your
That's right,
television.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I've been doing this, and any time I go on to listen to Radio Ulster on FreeSat, I see a message saying that police, it says, I can read it, it says, police say the body of an 84-year-old man has been recovered from Groomsport Harbour. Now, the police have been saying this on this screen for the last 2 months or so.
That's been gone every day for 2 months?
Yeah, at least. It might be
He's
2 months.
yeah,
I'm not sure whether there's a different body every morning or...
You've got FreeSat, Sean, haven't you? You have FreeSat, haven't you?
I don't know.
Yes, you have.
What's FreeSat?
It's FreeSat. That's what I'm saying.
what
You
is it?
must have it because it's free.
Yeah.
You must have it, yeah.
Is it
Do you think you said you wouldn't have anything that's free?
I
You
don't
should
know
check
what
that
it-
out,
what
whether
it
it
is.
also is.
I've got Freeview.
Same. Well, it's not the same thing. No.
Well, I'm worried.
I've got FreeSat. I'm going to check that myself, yeah.
Have a look.
Okay.
I'm a bit concerned for the family of the man having to look at this every day, and also it's not very good publicity for Groomsport.
Yeah, I know. It's like that thing, you know, in India. You know, 2 men are killed by a snake bite every day and they're getting fed up with it. See what I did there?
Yes,
See what I did there?
Yes. I had to think of it. That was
I know. Well, listen, anything else, sir? We'll check it out for you. Anything else we can help you with?
Well, in the same vein, you know, when I was a little bit worried about Groomsport and the publicity it was getting. And
Indeed. You need to be very careful here because that could well be a report of a man who died, and, you know, obviously, but it's obviously been left on the screen, so we don't want to insult the relatives or anything.
No, they need to get it off. But, no, I'm reading last week's Candy Down Spectator as well, and there's a big headline, Village of the Year judges pay to visit Portaferry.
But how much did it cost them to visit Portaferry?
I wondered how much you had to pay to visit Portaferry, but it shows a picture of them. There's half a dozen of them there, and they all look very happy, so it couldn't
I thought Portaferry was free. I thought you could just go any time you liked.
I think all the other towns...
Well, people should let us know how much it is to get to Portaferry.
Yeah, so...
All right, well, I mean, remember the ferry to the Strangford? Remember we were on that?
No, you wouldn't let me on it.
That's right, I wouldn't let you on it. No, I was afraid that you might get sick and book.
No, you told me to stay behind. I had to watch someone.
That's right.
You
didn't
Paul
watch him.
Evans wouldn't let me go.
Yeah, we had a man with us who was none too stable, and you had to watch him.
You were invited. You were invited over to someone's house.
That's right.
And
a swanky place.
A swanky house.
I don't normally take up this invitation, but it's rude
and
to
you
say
said
no.
to me, "You can't come over there with us. You stay here
and watch him."
Well, it might have cost more. You might have had to pay.
They wouldn't
for
let
him
me
as
go.
well.
They wouldn't let me go.
No, but you see, if that person hadn't been watched, that person might have taken drink and terrorised the whole town. That's the type of people we surround ourselves with.
And I never got on the ferry.
I know, and they may take it off soon, and then you'll be able to say that you never ever were on it.
Oh.
It's like going to Scotland. It's great, and it goes over sideways like a crab. It's very disorientating.
Do I have to hang on here, Gerry?
No, you don't. No, you can go now if you like. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, it's been nice to speak to you.
Nice talking to you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Bye. That was an odd ending to that,
Yes,
wasn't it?
there's a call.
You wanted to know if he had to stay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Gerry.
Yes.
First of all, just what you're talking about there now, I heard one time as a report that the road between Strangford and Portaferry was badly flooded.
Yes.
But that's another story. You were on about petard
Yes.
earlier on.
Yes.
And it's hoist with his own petard, but that's past tense, and as far as I know, it's an old English or some word. It's hoist is a present tense, H-O-I-S-E. But the other thing, it means that you're basically your own bad scheme is turned against you.
That's right, yeah.
But there's another interesting bit that the derivation of petard comes from pete in French, which means to fart.
We've already been there. We've been there. You're not listening to the programme. We've been through all that.
Have you? Well, somebody told me that. But anyway, the other thing I want to tell you, I was on a while ago about my wee dog, Bono, the wee whippet.
That's right.
He was in hospital. Well, he's back home now. He's herpling more than walking, but he's on his way.
Ah, the herpling dog.
Herpling dog, aye. And so thanks very much there, as with Clinic and all the lovely girls who looked after him and took on to bed. It's great. Very good. He's a wee man. He's on his way.
Sorry, I'm not listening to you. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. Sorry, I wasn't listening to him. Now, what did he say? What did you say there? Sorry, I was reading an email.
I said the wee dog's on his way to good health again.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
He's herpling, and thank you to all the Earlswood people, especially Siobhan and Margot.
Once a dog raises itself up on its four legs and starts to herple, that's the beginning of the road to recovery.
That's what I hope.
All right then. Good man. Thank you very much.
Okay, right, Gerry.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye. I was short with him because I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to say. What was he trying to say? Do you know?
Is that limp?
I don't. Herpling, yeah. Herpling. You obviously haven't been consulting your Ulster Scots dictionary recently.
Herpling. I've never heard it before.
Sean's you've never heard herpling?
He went herpling along the road.
There's herpling down there. Christ boy, is herpling just herpling. Herpling. H-A-R-P-L-A-N-G. Herpling.
Would you do a bit of herpling at the weekend?
To herple.
One
would herp. No.
I herpled all weekend.
No, you would say maybe an old person. No, I was just herpling along.
Eh?
My mother used to always say, when I'd be in the car with my mother, if you'd seen some old person that she knew, she'd always say, she's done. She's done.
I know.
Look at her herpling there. Look, she's done. Sean's hedgehog was crossing the road to help find his flatmate.
His flatmate.
Doesn't make sense.
Flatmate.
Flatmate?
And you're not allowed to give hedgehogs.
Flatmate. I see it now. It's all coming clear to me.
Don't give hedgehogs milk.
Why not?
I don't know. It drives them mad or kills them.
It's like you and
very
Guinness.
bad for them.
You may remember my story about my son losing his keys and finding them after I was advised to repeat, Jesus lost, Jesus found. Last Thursday night, says Michelle, I noticed my daughter was looking a bit sad. I asked her, you look like you're going to cry. Are you going to cry? She said, no. I repeated, you're going to cry. In fact, you're already crying. Sure enough, the tears fell in between sobs. She confessed, I've lost my ring. It was a little silver ring with a row of diamonds which my mother-in-law had given her. I had caught her wearing it to school, and because there's a no jewellery policy, in case it drives the teachers mad, I confiscated it and kept it safe in my jewellery box. She confessed that after a couple of weeks she felt naked without it and helped herself to it again. The first day, last Thursday, she wore it to school, but took it off when there were teachers about and hid it in her blazer. She went to take it out of her blazer, and there it was, gone. I immediately started chanting, Jesus lost, Jesus found. And all the next day, Friday, when I remembered about it, I repeated, Jesus lost, Jesus found. That same day, I went to collect her off the bus, and as soon as she got off, she looked like she was giving me a rude gesture. She held up her middle finger, and on it was the ring. It had been found. Praise the Lord. And passed the ammunition. Here's a wee song now. I love stories that have a nice ending. Happy stories.
With your eyes closed and your mind on what you are, walking blind through the night, where evil's lurking and danger certainly only biding its time. Well, 'cause in your slumber, well, you might stumble and disappear from sight. Oh, awake, oh sleeper, awake, oh sleeper, awake, oh sleeper, it's time.
This is Gentry Morris, a song called Awake, O Sleeper. We'll end on this. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 10:30. Until then, enjoy yourselves and be careful.
And step into the light. You've been filling holes with your fool's gold, but you're never satisfied. 'Cause there's a feeling that there's something can give you peace of mind. With your foolish hoping and fingers groping for what this world can provide. Oh, awake, oh sleeper, wake, oh sleeper, wake, oh sleeper, it's time. Let your eyes fly open and leave this broken, yeah, leave this broken world behind, and step into the light. Inside your chest, and you're dying to find out if the rumors really true, or what's it all about. But your first impressions and second